Welcome to Il Raglio Del Mulo. For those discovering Balashtoth for the first time, who are you, and which 3 words best describe your identity as a band?
Hi, this is Balash from Balashtoth, and thanks for the opportunity to introduce ourselves. So I was thinking about these 3 words a long time. I wanted to say something very smart, but then I was just thinking it's melodic death metal. In this truly intended form, we don't really use melodic vocals, we don't dilute it with Iron Maiden-esque twin guitars. It's more like a riffy approach, I would say.
Your new full-length album, Equation 2, The Antithesis of Life and Free Will, marks a major step forward from your earlier EPs. What was the main vision or idea that shaped this record?
Musically, what I tried to achieve was to approach melodic death metal from different angles in each song. So that's why you have And, Fear and Despair, like a very fast thrashy track, and multiplied by Judgment as a doomy track. Here we have groovy songs in between, fast-paced songs as well. So that was the idea. And lyrically, as on the previous releases, as song titles, I used sections of DC Comics' Anti-Life Equation. But I don't really base it on comic book stories or anything like that. That sounded a bit silly to me. I'm using them as a metaphor for today's political and media behavior, I would say. And in that sense, because they weaponize human flaws against their own people most of the time, it makes sense.
You also released the video for Plus Fear Plus Despair. Why did you choose that track for the visual representation of the album, and what does it say about the record as a whole?
And Fear and Despair is actually a 3rd video. We tried to select 3 different kind of songs. So Divided by Misunderstanding was more like a classic melodic death metal song, while Self Equals Dark Side was like a more old school song, and Fear and Despair is more like a very ferocious and trashy song. So 3 gives a good, idea about the album's direction.
The album features viola and Moog synth arrangements by Adam Toth on several tracks. How did those elements come into the creative process, and what did they bring to your sound?
When I was writing the track Multiplied by Judgment, I already had string lines in mind, and I actually composed them with MIDI. But as they are basically solo viola lines, they didn't really sound as good with MIDI as a real instrument. And I knew Adam from ages from the band Art of Dethronement, where he played violin. So that's how I was thinking of him straight away, that maybe he can pull it off. He also played on the last Cascade Garden album, my previous band's album, in one song on cello. So we have a long time collaboration, I would say. And then when he finished recording those lines, he mentioned that he had actually extra ideas for the ending of the song, which he also created, and we used it. And then asked me if he can go through all the songs, and if he has any idea, he would record it with them. He ended up participating in 3 songs, one with the Moog synths, and he created the intermission N equals Y. It's a very fruitful collaboration, and I think he elevated the songs to a whole new level.
Lyrically, the album moves toward a more personal and close-up perspective compared to your previous releases. What changed in your writing approach this time around?
On the first 2 EPs, we used the anti-life concept as an apocalypse kind of event, like destruction of the world and all that, and that's what actually the front covers also suggest. And I kind of didn't want to repeat that on this album again. There are some elements, but it's mostly based on real life experiences from my life, and it's a more microscopic catastrophe, if you like. And that reflects also in the album cover, where we only use a single match instead of a big lava flow and stuff like that.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss upcoming content, interviews, and new videos. Thanks for your support.